diciembre de 2020, empatizando con nosotros, compartiéndonos su experiencia de haber culminado sus estudios universitarios de la misma forma en la que hoy nosotros lo estamos viviendo. Gracias al Tecnológico de Monterrey por esta gran oportunidad de contar con una líder tan especial para nosotras, las y los jóvenes, en estos momentos tan especiales en donde culminamos nuestros estudios universitarios y nos preparamos para, con las herramientas que hemos obtenido, continuar con el camino de nuestras vidas.
Malala nació en Mingora, Pakistán, el 12 de julio de 1997. Y desde muy temprana edad, la educación fue parte de su vida. A los 11 años, con el seudónimo de Gul Makai, que significa flor de maíz en urdú, comenzó a escribir un blog sobre la creciente actividad militar en su pueblo de origen, incluyendo la destrucción de más de 100 escuelas para niñas y el cierre de la suya. Para marzo de 2012, sus publicaciones estaban en boca de todos y su identidad fue revelada. Ese mismo año, después de que le disparasen por oponerse a las restricciones de los talibanes en su país, se convirtió en un símbolo internacional de la lucha en pro de la educación de las niñas. En 2013, ella y su padre fundaron un fondo con el objetivo de sensibilizar acerca de los efectos sociales y económicos de la educación de las niñas. Y para el 2014, se convirtió en la persona más joven en recibir el Premio Nobel de la Paz. Con más de 40 premios y honores por su activismo, en el 2017 se convirtió en mensajera de la paz de las Naciones Unidas y continúa dedicando su vida y siendo una protagonista global en la concientización sobre la importancia de la educación y el desarrollo sostenible. Su primera visita a México fue en un encuentro con estudiantes del Tecnológico de Monterrey, en el que habló de la importancia de la educación para gestar cambios positivos en las personas y cómo esta abre oportunidades en lo individual y en lo colectivo. En el 2018 comenzó a estudiar filosofía, política y economía en la Universidad de Oxford, de la que se graduó este 2020. Démosle la bienvenida a Malala Yousafzai.
Honorable Rector and Executive President David Garza, distinguished guests, staff, faculty members, and dear students, I hope you're all doing well and keeping safe in these difficult times. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak at Tech's 2020 convocation. Congratulations to the class of 2020 on your graduation. Today is a remarkable moment in your life. You have worked hard, and today you deserve to celebrate it with full joy. I am sure your parents and your friends are proud of you, and I know that you are grateful to your university for the support and the facilities they have provided you in your education and learning in order to prepare you for your future work and your future goals. And I cannot wait to see what you all do to make this world a better place. I'm honored to be able to speak to you today, and I'm honored that you have chosen me for the convocation speech. Convocation speeches are often delivered by people who have a lot of experience, who have seen ups and downs in their lives. However, in my case, I do not have that. I'm also a recent graduate myself. I studied philosophy, politics, and economics at Oxford. And because of COVID-19, I studied at home. I took my exams at home and I graduated at home. And just like many of you, I am unsure and uncertain about what is happening next in my life. I'm thinking about applying for jobs and considering applying for masters and further education degrees. And I am very, very confused. However, I'm here to speak to you as friend and as your graduate colleague. I know that at Tech, online programs based on the digital and flexible educational model have brought undergraduate and graduate level courses to tens of thousands of students and made it possible for the entire university to switch almost immediately to online operations when the virus broke out. I want to share my story with you. I started speaking out at age 11. That is when the Taliban banned girls' education in the north of Pakistan, in Swat Valley. My education was taken away. I remember waking up on the 15th of January 2009 and realizing that that was the last day of school. I could no longer go to school. That is when I realized that education was not just about reading and learning, but it was about the empowerment of women and girls. It gave them a voice, it gave them safety, it gave them a future. I started speaking out to local media channels, to national media channels, to international media channels, including doing a blog for BBC and speaking out to New York Times and CNN and other platforms. And my father and I became activists. And we started believing that change does not occur itself, that you have to do something for that change to happen and for that change to occur. If we did not speak, who else would? So with that faith in our hearts, we did that activism for years in Swat Valley. And I realized that it was not only terrorism that prevented girls from school, but there were other issues as well, from domestic child labor to early child marriages. However, at age 15, I was targeted for speaking out, and I survived that incident. And I was supported by people from around the world. I was sent prayers, I was sent best wishes, I was sent cards, and so many beautiful gifts. And I was amazed by the support that I was receiving. And I realized that now my voice was reaching to people around the world. So I used that opportunity to speak out for girls globally. I realized that it was not only girls in Swat Valley who were deprived of their education, but also girls around the world. Around 130 million girls did not have access to education. And that is when I started Malala Fund, and I set this mission that all girls should have access to safe, free and quality education. Not just primary education, but secondary education as well. And I have been committed to this goal, and I have been fighting for it for the last 7 and 8 years. And the approach that I have adopted is based on the activism that my father and I were doing. I believe in the work of activists. I believe in the work of local champions who are delivering changes in their communities. They know the core of the issues and they know how to resolve them, but oftentimes they do not have the facilities and the resources that they need and the expertise sometimes that they need. So it is for us that we work together and that we ensure that we empower each other because we all have the same goal in the end, which is the education of all girls. So Malala Fund supports champions in more than 8 countries, including Brazil, Pakistan, India, Nigeria, Afghanistan. And our vision is that we do work through programmings, we do work through advocacy, and we focus on 3 main issues. Number 1 is financing for education, because there's a huge gap when it comes to investment in education. Governments are not investing enough in girls' education. The issue is not prioritized, and we have to keep on pushing them, both the developed countries and in the developing countries, that they have to increase financing for education. Donor countries need to increase their support, and the recipient countries also need to ensure that they allocate budget towards girls' education. And then second thing is the quality of education. One study shows us that around 1 billion girls are not ready for the future work that they will be facing. So they're not receiving the quality education that they would need and that they would require for tomorrow. A lot of girls are not knowing about their rights and they do not know about their safety and protection. So we need education that is gender sensitive, that educates both girls and boys about gender and about how to be responsible citizens. So there's a lot that needs to be done about the quality of education. And then finally, we have to address the social norms that prevent girls from going to school. We have to address the fact that many girls are forced into early child marriages. They become victims of domestic child labor. And in many families, if a family can afford the education of one child, they often prioritize boys rather than girls. So that has been the focus of Malala Fund's programming work. And this is the advocacy that I personally have been doing and the Malala Fund champions have been doing, and speaking to international leaders, to local leaders, to ensure that they invest in girls' education and that they prioritize this issue. And we are working on creating girls activists. Just like me, I believe that any girl can become an activist and she can become a change maker. So we're working on the activism program of girls as well. And I had this idea that, activism, through activism and through this work, you will see change. And this is what we have learned from history, that women were fighting for their right to vote once, and that struggle took a long time, but they were able to achieve that. And now, around the world, women have access to voting right, and women are voting. And we are seeing changes in so many ways because of the activism that has been done in the past. But one thing that completely shocked me was the impact of COVID-19 on girls' education. And I realized that things can change suddenly. There could be external factors that can impact the progress that you have made, that can impact the work that you have done. Malala funded a research that showed that 20 million more girls are at risk of losing their education because of this COVID pandemic. This study was based on the Ebola case, and it showed us that many girls, because of this pandemic, drop out of their schools, and in this period they're forced into early child marriages, or they become the financial supporters of their families, and they continue doing that, and they never return to schools again. So I am deeply concerned about those girls, and there's so much more that needs to be done. In this pandemic time, the issues are ignored. Political leaders no longer talk about girls' education. They do not even mention it verbally. And it really is frustrating when you realize that you do so much work and then suddenly things change and you have to start all over again, or there's even more to do, and the number that you hope to decrease, which is 130 million, it could even increase. So these are the challenges that we are seeing currently, and what I have learned is that you have to stay committed to it. You have to be but you also at the same time have to be open to changes. You need to be more flexible and realize that things may not always be in your favor. So Malala Fund has been working with our champions, and to make it short, the message is that always have faith and belief in the cause that you are fighting for. You have to believe in yourself. You have to be committed to it. And you will hear this from many people that if you give up, that is when your mission dies. That is when your goal dies. But as long as you stay committed to it, it will stay alive and it will succeed. And you will have hurdles, you will have difficulties, you will have challenges, but take those as learning experiences and improve the work that you are doing and make it even better. And secondly, consistency is so important. You have to stick to it. It can take many years, even though we are already frustrated about the time it is taking for us to change the world, and it is frustrating to see how many decades it will take for us to reduce carbon emissions, and to see women have equal pay, and to see all girls in school. It will take years, and I am in urgency. I am not happy that we have to wait for so many more decades and even century to see equality in the world. So we have to be more active. We have to be more committed to these missions. We need more and more of us to play a role in this. And you have a lot of responsibility on your shoulders. Unfortunately, the world that we are inheriting contains flaws, and this COVID-19 pandemic has revealed those flaws. It has reminded us that our health system, our education system, our economic system, our political systems, they contain flaws, and they are not equal to all people. They favor some more than others, and some, especially those who are marginalized, they are not treated fairly, and many women and many young girls and many children and minorities, they do not have equal rights, and especially women. This is something that we hear all the time. They are facing discrimination, whether it comes to their pay, whether it comes to their job, and how they're treated at job. And reports, especially in Mexico, shows us that women face abuse and they face violence, and that is something that needs to change. And in that, women and men both need to play their role. The role of men is so important. When women have been doing this activism for so long, and they will continue that, but men should also take their role and their part in it to ensure that we spread this message among boys and among men that women should be treated fairly. They should not be disrespected. They should not be harassed. As fathers, as brothers, as sons, you have an important role to play outside your houses and within your houses and within your family members and within your friend circles. Whenever you see something that is wrong, you have to speak out. You have to say something. So, we cannot let these issues exist. They have to change. And sometimes it is just one voice that can change it. It is just one act that can change it. And do not underestimate the impact of these small steps that we take. If you see, whenever I see my brothers and I hear that they say something that is, a bit sexist, or they are not, they are not realizing that they are saying it, that they have that bias inside them, I always correct them, because it is important that we keep on reminding them from very early age that they should never disrespect girls, that they should treat them equally, they should, women should have equal rights, and they understand the issues and they're more aware of it. They understand that women are facing so many difficulties in their lives, and they should be supportive of women, and that they should, whenever they see any form of injustice, that they should speak out. I know that there's a lot that needs to be done. We want clean air to breathe in. We want a safe society. Women want a society where they feel protected and where they feel safe, that they can go out and they're not worried about their bodies, and they're not worried about any harm that they can face. And we want to see a world where no girl is deprived of education, where every girl can have access to education, where every girl is safe, and no girl drops out of school because of issues like forced child marriages or teen pregnancies or poverty or lack of facilities and lack of teachers. So there's a lot that needs to be done, but let's stay committed and let's hold those in power accountable. Let's ensure that we engage our local political leaders, our national political leaders. We remind them that they have to invest in the well-being and the welfare of people. This pandemic has reminded us that what is important is the health and the education and the welfare of people. Economic systems can fall, we will rebuild them, but what keeps us going is the humanity and is the support that we give each other as friends, as human beings. And right now we are just so grateful to doctors, nurses, drivers, everyone who is playing their part. So it is the humanity that keeps us going. So we need to have faith in that, and we need to invest more in that. We need to focus in improving that more. So I'm really excited, and I cannot wait to see the world become a better and a safer place for each and every one of us. And I cannot wait to see you all play your role in that. All the things that Tech has embedded in you through the education that they are providing you, new skills and knowledge, creativity, entrepreneurial spirit, the ability to communicate, innovate and do business, learn online, and so much more. All of these things have empowered you to use your talents to work to find innovative solutions to your country's problems, even in the midst of this unprecedented time. There is no question that the future of Mexico and the future of our societies will be shaped by people like Tech's graduates. I am so excited for all of you and for what you do. And I am really sad that we cannot see each other in person, and it is not like a typical convocation speech, but I hope one day that becomes possible. So stay safe, take care of yourself, wear masks, and congratulations once again. Go and change the world. Thank you so much.